Welcome, everyone, to episode 1 of Rabbit on the Rails. I'm your narrator, Rabbit. I'm 42 years old and hired out when I was 29. I've been married for 21 years, and together we have 8 kids. In this series, I will be diving into my career on the railroad and the journey this job has taken my family and me on. So far, we have moved twice because of this job and have lived in 2 different states. The rails I travel are in the South, and the stories reflect my personal experience here. I began this story around August of 2011. At the time, I was selling cars in Sinla when I met the guy who would introduce me to the railroad. He came in looking for a small car that was good on gas, and while I was showing him a few options, he asked me if I enjoyed my job. Now, something you should know about me: I'm a straightforward person that tries to be honest. I learned from a very young age that I was not a good liar. I told him no, I really did not enjoy this job. I didn't make a lot of money selling cars, and I was not good at it. He told me the railroad was about to start a really large hiring process, and the sooner I get in, the better, because it goes based off of seniority. He gave me the information needed to apply and even gave me his name to put down as a reference. I applied in September, went for my physical in October, and started in November. Now, I had intentions to put in a 2-week notice at the dealership, but they found out in October about the job I had lined up and fired me a month before my start date. While this was just the beginning of a stressful life, I enjoyed my month at home with my family before having to travel a little over 2.5 hours away to begin my training. At this point in our lives, we already had 4 children. November came quickly and my journey began. We started out with 13 people in our class. The first day, we were surprised with a random drug test, and unfortunately, we were down to 12 people just that quick. There's a saying on the railroad: they hire you just to fire you. No one had expected a random drug test on the first day when everyone had already took one just to get hired on out here. We did a couple of weeks of classroom work that were mixed with 2 different instructors. The first instructor was great and wanted us to learn. He told us he was only filling in until our main instructor returned from vacation. Our second instructor came in for the second week with a do-not-care attitude. The first thing out of his mouth was, "I'm going to teach you enough just to get by." And that's what he did. After the classroom training, we began our on-the-job training. First, we started with locals and yard jobs. Then we went to the road jobs. And finally, it was time for remote training. Once we got through the road training, our instructor told us we were going to start remote training on the next Monday. I took my last road trip Wednesday and drove home. My wife and I are pretty spontaneous people, so we decided to use the next couple of days to look for a house closer to my job, because by this time, about 3 months had passed. We took Thursday to look and actually found a really nice house for rent. We applied for the house and was told the next day that we could rent it. At this time, we didn't have a lot to our name, so we asked the landlord when the soonest we could move in was. He said we could move in that weekend if we wanted to. And since we weren't scheduled to get back to work until Monday, we packed up everything we owned in one day. While we were loading the U-Haul, my phone began to ring with the company's phone number. I hesitantly answered, and to my surprise, our class was being marked up to begin work before the remote control training class. I began to panic. I'm now 4 hours away from the location they marked us up in, and everything I own is in a U-Haul. I called our crew management services and told them the situation. Luckily, the board they marked us up on receives 3 personal paid days. This was my very first encounter with crew management services, and we were already told horror stories of how they are never helpful. Well, this time they were. The lady gave me a personal leave day for 24 hours, and that gave me enough time to get down there and get the truck unloaded. We weren't all the way unpacked, but we were moved in, and I was ready to begin my job as a conductor. I hope you have enjoyed this journey so far, and hope you tune in next time to pick up where we left off.